Yes, it's Lene Lovich Day today at the Institute of Pop. Lene Lovich Day. So can all Lene Lovich albums please come up to the starting gate right now, immediately, please. Lene Lovich Day to the Institute of Pop start line. Thank you very much. There's only one. This one, the first one. That's right. Hi, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this album, which is Lene Lovich's debut, and it's called Stateless. And it's a really cool album which came out on Stiff Records in 1978. Back cover. Now she's got a bit of a headache, I think, going on here, whereas before she was wide-eyed, scared, and stateless. Now this is interesting. I never realized that Lene Lovich was part American, part English. I always just assumed she was all English. But she lived in Detroit in the States until she was 13 and then moved over to England after that. And that's where she stayed, at least for the time being, or at least for the time it took to get this album out. Anyway, and it's really interesting, I think, this sense of this black and white cover and that she's on the run, there's surveillance, she's looking out for what could possibly go wrong here. Maybe she's being chased. And also the idea here is that she's stateless. So is she American? Is she British? I think those are really strong ideas here. Anyway, 1978 it came out on Stiff Records, and here's the inner sleeve, and there's Lene, believe it or not, that's Lene right there. And now this is Les Chappell, who was sort of the co-writer, and he's the guitarist, and there's the singer in Lene, but Lene is also doing the old saxophone duties. I'm not too sure how happy we should be about that. But the record itself is on this sort of translucent yellow. How cool is that for 1978? And I looked it up, same on the other side, and I looked it up on Discogs. Whoa. Looked it up on Discogs, and it is going for something like 70 Australian dollars. So let's say 40 American dollars or 35 British pounds. And so that's going to make it really interesting. I first came into contact with Lene Lovich, no, not in the personal sense, back when Lucky Number came out. And I always thought it was a little bit too quirky. Yes, it was fun. It's very quirky. My opinions have changed on it over the years. And one of the reasons was that a friend of mine bought this compilation on CD. And if you don't have it, you might have all the songs on this album, but this is a great compilation. It's called London on the Line. And who have we got? It starts off with London Calling by The Clash. It's got The Jam, The Pretenders. It's got Public Image, Lene Lovich, Psychedelic Furs. It's got everybody. And generally, it's got everybody and their best song, or the one that everybody loves the most. And this one, of course, is Lucky Number. So Lucky Number was on that. But then again, she went off my radar, and I started to do a little bit of streaming. But that's the thing about streaming. Sometimes when you got that fast forward button there, 10 seconds forward, 20 seconds forward, you just go for it. You don't sort of sit back and immerse yourself in the album. That's what I think anyway. And the way I picked up this album, where's it gone? There it is. The way I picked up this album was I was in a vintage shop and they had a $5 bin, records, one for $5, five for $20, that sort of thing. So I got my $20 worth, and I got Lene Lovich, but also got this album, Oregon, Music of Another Present Era, and that's fantastic too. My God. And so I don't even know. I think I might have jettisoned the other three, but $10 for each of these albums sounds like pretty good deal. But what I've got to do now is subject it to the grueling persecution of the 3 plays 3 picks method, and what that is to see whether I'm going to keep the album out of purgatory. And what they say is I've got to play the album 3 times. In this case, it's about 4 or 5, and see if I can find 3 picks on this album which make it worthwhile to keep. Or will it go into the dreaded fires of purgatory? I'm not sure. Now, to make things really interesting with Stateless, I'm not going to include Lucky Number. I think that's a bit of a given. So I'm looking for 3 picks from other songs on the album to see whether it stays afloat or sinks into those hellish pits. Anyway, so what do you think? Is it going to stay or is it going to go? Is it going to be purgatory or heavenly? Let's find out as we talk about it and have a bit of a listen to some of these songs as well. So I guess we do have to start off this video by talking about Lucky Number. I mean, it is the big song of her career, and it'd be a terrible thing not to give it any airtime. So here we go. It performed amazingly well in Australia. It got all the way to number 2, which was so much better than it did in Great Britain, where it only got to 3. And here's an interesting thing. I wonder if anybody could pick, no one will be able to pick this, no one. Can you pick what song kept it at number 2? What song was number 1 during this period? Bit of thinking music, perhaps? Or maybe we'll just get right to it. This is it. know. How ridiculous is that? Anyway, so what made this song better than the rest of the songs on the album? Interestingly enough, it was written by Lene Lovich and I think Les Chappell on this, and they wrote it for a demo tape. I think the record company said, we need another song, we need a hit, go away and write one. Everything's looking too backwards. Anyway, so Lene Lovich said at the time that she'd never written a song before, and this was it. And the rest is history, as you can well know. I think this has really got a funkier dance grooves than most of everything else on the album. It's got some astonishing vocals and that 4-note chorus. Really great. And it's the idea of catching lightning in the bottle. Now, I've listened to the demo, and you can too if you want to check it out on YouTube. And they're very, very similar, so not much has changed from the demo into the single, which is a cool thing. This is one of the only 3 singles on this album, though, and this is maybe a little bit instructive. The only one of 3 singles on this album that was written by Les and Lene. How about that? It might be a little bit of a lesson to learn there, perhaps. And the other thing I really dig is this psychedelic sort of synthesizer sound in the final section. So I'm not picking it, but I would if I could. Anyway, let's have a listen. Second track on the album is called Sleeping Beauty, and this one sort of has a Caribbean, South American dance contest feel about it. I mean, it's better than that sounds, I must admit. It's a cool song, but it's going to be a sort of a theme throughout this review, I suppose, as to whether we're taking a step back or a step forward with the music, because this seems to take a step back in time. The chorus section sounds like a dead rip-off from a show tune, some sort of a musical here, and I can't place it. What I've got so far, even though this came afterwards, was They Won't Let My Girlfriend Talk to Me by Jimmy and the Boys in Australia, written by Tim Finn. And it's also got a bit of a Burt Brecht, Kurt Weill sort of feel to it. Love those swooping wind sound effects, or are they keyboards throughout the guitar solo? And that guitar solo and the ghostly vocals which accompany them might be the best part of this track. The lyrics too are worth diving into. This sensitive child is changing her style. The ugly duck is starting to smile. Open up your eyes. You sleeping beauties must arise. What a great message. You sleeping beauties must arise. As though the feeling of beauty is within us, or our beauty is within us, but we've got to allow it to come out, and it's time to do it right now. I think this is a really cool song. Sleeping Beauty, definitely a pick. We've got one. Woohoo! Let's have a listen to it. Third track on the album, on side A, is called Home, which is interesting when you take that idea of statelessness, and now this is a song about home. And it's got a fairly bizarre and sort of slow build-up, but then we kick into this really great new wave groove, which I dig enormously. There's a lovely swell of keyboards in the middle sections, in the bridging or the solo sections, and which also has a very stentorian sort of spaghetti western feel to it. There's a touch of B-52s here as well. Definitely, I think maybe their influence was much more widespread than I ever gave them credit for. Overall, I'm going to pick this song as well. Woo-hoo, 2 picks going. And let's go back to the section. Let's have a listen to the section which is talking about that she doesn't want to go back. This could be my favorite section from this song.
I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back anymore. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back anymore. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back anymore. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back anymore. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
Too Tender to Touch is up next, and this one really is a throwback to the 50s or to the 60s, and maybe it should have stayed there. Was I loud enough there? just for me, if you love the song, that's great. I'm not a huge fan here. I think Lena has sort of lost that magic, that wild and crazy magic, and she's starting to sound a bit like a nondescript singer, which is in this song I'm talking about, and that should not be acceptable at all. It's got South American percussion in there with the clackers, and to me, there's too much piano as a leading driving instrument here. Although I will say that in the piano solo, the first half is quite beautiful and is a bit of a savior. Now, this one for me, with the sort of the balladeer sort of feel, Martha and Vandellas type of feel, uh, um, Phil Spector production sort of thing. The Phil Spector, the PST, the Phil Spector type of thing, the PSTT. You know what I'm talking about? I think you do. Anyway, um, that sort of drove me away from the song. So I thought I'm going to have a deep dive into these lyrics to find out whether there's something there as well. And you and I together now, you and I together now, forever after only. Yes. A staring smile, a frozen face, a photograph of lasting love that never knew a nicer place than tucked inside my pillowcase. Oh, beautiful lyrics. But now immediately I'm starting to think, is this a song about domestic violence and the too tender to touch? Does she kill the man? I'm not sure. This could be sort of a projection, or it could be just a breakup song and living on the memories of that former partner. Whatever it is, it certainly added some tenderness to this song. I'm not picking it, but it's not the end of the world here. It's not the end of the earth. It's a sort of song. It's okay. The last song on side one is called Say When, and it was the third and final single taken from this album. And it's a cover of the Jimmy O'Neill song, the guy from Fingerprints. Now, if you want a nice little sort of place of comparison, it's got a sort of an Orange Blossom Special feel. Johnny Cash's Orange Blossom Special. And it gives us a sense of going from a little bridging song between punk and new wave. The thing I really think is a standout here is the rhythm section. The rhythm section is really tight. The drums are right on the money, and that allows the bass player a bit of freedom to be able to do his thing, which I kind of dig as well. That's really when you know you've got a great connection in your rhythm section, when they can be expansive but always so super tight as well. This one for me is a half a pick. Now, I don't know whether you can have half a pick. It's like being a little bit pregnant, I suppose. But a half a pick. We'll see what else comes up on this. We'll see what else is going to come up on this side. Maybe there's some good things to give that half a pick back and make it a whole pick, because, one half and one half, they should come together. Otherwise, they're going to be like magnets, which will never touch. Made no sense. What do they call those magnets which don't touch? Anyway, or repel each other? I don't know. Whatever. Let's move on. Crazy.
Well, I'm all wrapped up and ready, baby, 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 baby. You're a man, I'm a lady. But turn your accents body and main. I don't want you to be ahead of our time. Oh, I said when to stop. Hey, I call the shots, but I say when. I said when to stop. Hey, I call the shots, but I say when.
Side 2 opens with a cover of the Niccolo song called Tonight, and we harken back to those Martha and the Vandellas sort of doo-wop moments, the Phil Spector treatment, PST, OT, or whatever it was. I don't want to stop. We're going okay at this moment. And there's nothing wrong with that sort of sound, except I was just hoping for a little bit more of that Lene Lovich crazy goodness, crazy Lena goodness. Stick that on a label of a homemade chili and it won't be homemade for long. You'll have people knocking down the door. Anyway, and then, of course, we get the saxophone. Now, I think it might be the first time I've hit the saxophone on this album, but there it is, and it's cheesy, and it's saxophone, it's cheesy saxophone, and I'm not sure how much goodness it's bringing us. Anyway, I'm a bit happy for this song to be over, to tell the truth. Not my kind of thing. Then we move on to Writing on the Wall, and we have these synth sounds and these car sounds. I'm not sure whether they're car sound effects or whether they're guitar sort of sound, but what we get is this real industrial sound to this urban landscape of a song, which just builds up the world. But then again, the song becomes a little bit disappointing because it's not that exciting and it doesn't sort of live up to the quirkiness of those sound effects at the beginning of the song. You create the world and then go away from the world. You've asked me to jump into this world and now I'm sort of thrown out of the world. I don't know. But it does have a sing-along chorus. And this is one thing that's very interesting about this album. There's a pub mentality about that. And what I mean is, no matter what she puts us through, and in a good way, she can often come up with the pub chorus, a sing-along chorus, and everybody's singing along and people going, that's great. So we've got a punter who's sitting in the audience, maybe talking to his best his better half, and they go, don't like this verse is really ordinary. Ah, tourle, writing on the wall, let's sing together, let's all have a ball, that sort of thing. This is another classic half pick. So we had that half pick of Say When from the first side, and I'm going to join it up here. There's a small spoken section, which is really cool as well. I love those. And there's this bass playing at times reminds me of the bass from Peaches by the Stranglers. It's a cool sound. It's a cool riff. Let's have a listen to a bit of it.
You're somewhere else, you're someone else, and here am I, all by myself, an empty wall, an empty me. I write the things that should have been. I tell the world how much I care and miss the one that isn't there. Oh, the writing on the wall. Oh, the writing on the wall. Oh, the writing on the wall. Oh, the writing on the wall.
Let's go into a bit of telepathy now. Let's join our minds together. And with a title like Telepathy, we can't really go wrong, can we? Because I'm expecting some Gary Newman sort of wild stuff going on here. I'm expecting barriers to be pushed, but it's unfortunately not what kind of happens. It is a bit lightweight. The bass is up there and prominent, and the bass playing here has been really good. And once again, I love the rhythm section, which gives it a jaunty and a boppy sort of feel. But the song definitely reminds me of another song, and I can't get it out of my head. Once it's in there, I can't escape it. So if you don't want me, should I put it on the screen down the bottom? Or maybe I should whisper it. The song, close your ears if you don't want to hear. The song it reminds me of is, Have You Ever Seen the Rain by Creedence Clearwater Revival? Nothing wrong with that song. It's a good song, but is that the sort of template that we would want Lene Lovich to be following? I don't know. She was young. What do I know? Who am I? What the hell? Let's move on to the next track, which is called Momentary Breakdown. And it seems here like she's completely gone away from that punky image or the new wave goodness or being even the new wave goddess. I hate to say this, but and it's a first album. Jesus, cut the artist a break, would you, Brian? I mean, when did you put out your album, pal? Have you ever done that? No, he hasn't, has he? He's not put out his album. He's doing his garage band stuff. He hasn't put one out there. Not only has he not put one out there, but he hasn't put it out on Translucent Yellow, has he? No, he hasn't. So shut up. Stop going on. But I think it's a bit lazy. I think this song choice and the song is a bit lazy. I mean, it reminds me of British people, that stereotype of British people visiting the coastline in Spain, like Mallorca, and ordering fish and chips all the time. It's sort of like that as well. Give the punters what they want, and this song is definitely full of that. We've got the sing-alongs going on, but I suppose more appropriately, I'm starting to get sort of a feel here. Any songs which remind me of American and maybe the American roots of Lene Lovich, I don't particularly like, and I include this one even though I was talking about Brits on the Spanish coastline or whatever it was I was trying to talk about before. I think that's much more of an American song than a lot of the others. And when they've got that British heritage, even with the sing-alongs and everybody having a good time at the pub, I think those are the songs that I really like. Another song by Les and Lena, and it's about people meeting over a crowded dance floor. And there's some great lyrics here. So silently the crowd began to move, one by one, till there was only two. And darkness fell upon the pair. They closed their eyes, and there is no one there. What's going on? Is it a dream? Is it a hallucination? Or is it reflection on the past? It's certainly not idyllic. Anyway, why don't we have a listen to something, and I'll be right back.
What you done? I saw you in my crystal. I saw you making love. I'm gonna get my pistol. Telepathy's gonna be the death of me. Telepathy's gonna be the death of me.
The second to last song on this album is called One in a Million, And this is sort of an old school country hoedown type of thing, which, I picture could be quite easily come from a musical like Annie Get Your Gonads or 85 Brides for 85 Brothers, whatever it is. And we picture the moment, don't we? We picture the moment as interval has just finished and we're going to settle down into our chairs and we get the epic showstopper to start the second act by the Stars. And then the Stars need to go off stage because after that big song, they need a break, they need water, they need a rest, they need a costume change, they need a fag, whatever they do. And that allows the supporting characters their time to shine while the costumes are being changed. Here's my moment, I'm going to take it, etc. It's all very competent, but I'm like waiting for the click clop of the horses to tell us that the Stars are coming back onto the stage. It's competent, but it's still, there's nothing unpleasant about it. And that brings us up to the final song on the album, which is called I Think We're Alone Now, which was the first single from this album. And you're like, what the? You hear all these stories about the music industry having no idea, and I've spoken about this many times on many songs, but not Lucky Number? What's going on? It's a cover of a Tommy James and the Shondells sort of song, and it gives me memories of Brighton Beach, Under the Boardwalk, episodes of Happy Days, what you might get if you asked Cyndi Lauper to be the lead singer of the Cars, that type of thing. But I absolutely adore that keyboard sound effect that's underneath the whole thing. This to me makes it kind of worthwhile, and it's very reminiscent of the washboard being used for every song of the 13th Floor Elevator's first and second albums. And there's a theremin being used here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and that's kind of cool as well. Is it a pick? No. But God, we've been starved of picks in the second act, have we? And I got to the end of this song and end of this album. I think the last time I listened to it, I go, "Have I been ripped off for $5?" I don't know. Look, it's the sort of album that I am going to definitely keep in the collection. It's going to avoid the purge now, but it may not always avoid the purge. So I'm going to see it, and man has to love his translucent yellow vinyl. You gotta love that. Anyway. It's going to have a place in the collection, at least for a time being. And if nothing else, because it's got Lucky Number on it, and there are some, I think I'm never going to listen to side B again, but side A, I think is really worthwhile. I think it's something that's worth dropping the needle on. And if you've never heard this album or you've thought about it before, I really recommend giving side A a go, and maybe you go through your 3 picks, 3 plays as well. Anyway, until next time, I hope you're doing really well. Thanks for watching, and bye now.